Seattle just before a prayer rally was set to assemble there. The city said the move was necessary to prevent, quote, anticipated crowding. But a few miles away in Seattle's Cal Anderson Park, rioters repeatedly have assembled there to demonstrate and to plan attacks on police stations and local businesses. What is this? It's religious discrimination, obviously. It's an attack on Christianity. We've seen it throughout the pandemic. Violence is fine. Practicing your faith is a threat to society. On Labor Day, this approach led to predictable scenes of violence in Seattle, and not from the prayer group. Watch. At one point, body cam footage shows police riding down the street as someone throws what appears to be a Molotov cocktail. Seattle police later tweeted this photograph of incendiary devices found outside the Seattle Police Officers Guild, the Union Hall. Meanwhile, in Portland, Oregon, one of those Molotov cocktails apparently detonated prematurely, lighting one of the rioters on fire. Just another day in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, if somebody told the mayor that that was a religious ceremony, maybe Zoroastrians practicing their faith, the city would shut it down in a second. This is clearly illegal. How's it continuing? Jason Rantx is a radio show host in Seattle. We're always happy to have him on the show. Jason, thanks for coming on. So the contrast couldn't be starker here. Are we overdrawing it? Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. I mean, keep this in perspective. Gasworks Park is 21 acres. It is massive. And Christians just wanted to come down and pray, in part because they are protesting peacefully the fact that in Washington state, like in so many other places, you can't attend church as you normally would. So they were there to pray to God for strength, for inspiration. Meanwhile, you have a park occupied by people whose only prayer to God is that they don't get caught throwing a Molotov cocktail at a building as they try to murder police officers. And the city isn't trying to hide it. They're not fencing off this park, Cal Anderson, that has been repeatedly used by these protesters. Just a couple weeks ago, they tried to set up an encampment as they occupied it. And they had a whole bunch of tents up there, and they were saying they were doing this for the homeless. But when the cops went in and swept it up, they found a treasure trove of weapons. We're talking about spike strips, an unused mortar, lots of weapons there that they confiscated. So it was totally a scam. Again, the response was not to fence it off. The response was to send some security overnight that got chased away, and now they refuse to come back for fear of their safety.
That's unbelievable. Have local politicians in Seattle and Portland and a lot of cities like Seattle and Portland talk a lot about how much they oppose gun violence and why that means you need to give up your means of self-protection? They don't seem particularly concerned about this kind of political violence or the unused mortars or Molotov cocktails, are they?
No, you would think that coming out strongly against the use of Molotov cocktails is probably politically uncontroversial, something that everyone should be doing. But the department here is constantly under siege. And not only is the mayor nor the council coming out strongly against this violence, again, we recently had staged across the street at Cal Anderson Park, which for folks who are familiar with the CHOP coverage, is inside that zone, across the street from a police station. They staged there, they went into the police station, they used quick dry cement to try to close the door while setting it on fire. I reached out to every council member for comment, and no one said anything.
It's grotesque. Jason Rantx, who's chronicled this from the very beginning. Great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tucker.
Up next, we'll bring you exclusive audio of CNN head Jeff Zucker and his friend, attorney Michael Cohen,